Hey, happy 713 day, you raggedy bitches. We got a lot to discuss. Let's get it.
Live from the BiffNet Studios World Headquarters in Spring, Texas, it's Barry on Deck, hosted by former ESPN Houston radio host and stand-up comedian Barry Laminack, starring Oliver the Cat. Written by Barry Laminack, produced by Barry Laminack, directed by, you guessed it, Barry Laminack, featuring sports, entertainment, special guests, film sessions, and some drinking. Okay, a lot of drinking. Viewer discretion is advised. And now, here's your host, Barry Laminack.
What's up, you damn dirty deckheads? Welcome to Barry on Deck. I am your host, Barry Laminack. Thank you guys for being here. Today is Tuesday, July 13th, 2021, and this is episode number 290 of Barry on Deck. And as always, Barry on Deck brought to you by the AP Law Group. If you have been injured in an accident, maybe you've been hit by an 18-wheeler or just some moron not paying attention, make sure you give them a call. 713-913-GO-AP is the number. They're going to take care of you. They're two Houston dudes. And if you don't have a phone or you can't remember the number, just log on to aplawgroup.com. It's that simple. Hey, welcome to the show. Sorry, little house cleaning here. I got to straighten up the cam. Y'all know my OCD won't allow me to let it look as crooked as it did. So much to talk about. Stephen A. Smith is the gift that keeps on giving. It's probably going to be pretty heavy in that regard. We're gonna discuss that. But we got a lot to talk about, actually. Stephen A. Smith related, Home Run Derby related, 49ers related, Kansas University related. What else is on this rundown? John Wall out here liking tweets that's got the internet going nuts like Paul Wall. Shit, I didn't get a drink. It's going to be an interesting day. We got a lot to get to. Another busy sports day for sure. But as we always do, we always start with the chat. And look at this raggedy bitch showing up first. Louisa Leia. What? In the building first at 1:37. Nobody was even close. The next closest was a minute later. We're talking eons in chat time. Eons. If there's not 7 or 8 of you at 1:37, what are we doing with our goddamn lives, people? Congratulations, Louisa Leia, though. First in the chat, first with the super chat, first with the like. A triple crown, Jeff Bell. Put it down in the books for that man. He is killing the game, the greatest deckhead in the history of the world for the next 2 hours or whatever. Then he's back to just being old regular ass Luis. Let's go, though. Let's do the chat, shall we? Let's see who else is here today. We've got, I mentioned Mr. Reyes. Robert likes beer. They're like BFFs, too. Oh, look at Steven the weather guy blessing us with a weather update today. Current conditions of BiffNet World Headquarters, 91 degrees, dew point 74 degrees, heat index 100. Fuck! 100% chance Shelby is sleeping on the job today. No doubt. Not even like close to being in here first. But you know what? We'll allow it. Shelby is a busy person. So I'm not going to hate on her too much. What's up, Terrence? What's up, John Dory? Christy is here early. First female representation in the building. Keith Sager is here. Christo, what's up? How was the anniversary weekend, Alan? There you go. D-Mata is in the building. Francisco Abarca, Mark G, Fidel, Donna. There's my sweet Donna. There's Shelby. A little late, but who gives a shit? Oh, she's getting caught up after NASA. Got it, Shelbs. Thank you for dropping in for the like, sweetie. Who else is here? Uriel Villanueva. Tony the Handsome getting ignored on the Discord, and that's okay. Brandon Gary, what's up, gangster? How are you? CC! We loved you. We love you. Not loved. We love you. We missed you. What's up, Walt? What's up, Robert? Robert Carbajal is in the building. Richard Vales. Who else? John Westling. Anyone else watching the All-Star Game red carpet party? No, just you weirdo. What's up, Jesus? Who else here? What's up, Flip? What's up, Quinn? What's up, Nick? Gambo is in the building. Jared Taylor is here. Clarence, what's up? Hey, guys. Ray, what's up? How are you, buddy? I still have to get this goddamn camera going. It's on my list. I promise. All right, let's get this show rolling. What's up, Savage Dad? How are you? Working for the Texans today, Ray is. Good. Tell him I said fuck those guys. I'm not a fan. That's dope, but are you installing, I hope you're installing a better playbook. All right. Shelby is our rocket scientist. Oh, she is? Really? What's up, JJ? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. All right, listen, we got a lot of shit to discuss. I didn't even tweet out the show. You guys got to give me a second. God damn it. I always fuck it up. Whiskey. I'm tagging. Shit. There we go. Kristopher Hart. Sorry, folks. This is boring ass. I get it, but you know what? It's got to be done. All right, I tweeted it out. Okay, so here's the first thing first. We didn't get to this yesterday, and speaking of Kristopher Hart, he's going to be joining me today at 3:30, as always, for Two Fancy Guys, where we talk life and whiskey and being fancy dudes, and it's going to be a good time. A fan favorite for sure, but we did the whiskey tasting. You guys, I am so pumped about this. Barry on Deck is getting its own whiskey. Well, kinda. Let me finish. So, the Prideful Goat, which is a whiskey that Kristopher Hart is associated with. I don't know exactly what he does. I think he like managing partner or some shit. But he decided, hey, let's do a Barry on Deck version of the Prideful Goat. That's what he did. That's what he said. So he basically said, we're going to put bottles in the stores that have the Barry on Deck logo on it. And you guys, some of you get to come out and pick the barrel that we'll use to make those bottles. So we did a raffle on the Discord, and 5 lucky deckheads plus myself plus Jen went out and sampled the alcohol and chose our barrel. It was so much goddamn fun. I can't even begin to tell you how cool of an experience the whole thing was. I had never done a whiskey tasting like that. And we got some great picks. This is how it started. So if you've never done a whiskey tasting, you can kind of see the barrels in the background of some of these pictures. But basically, they get a sample from each of the 5 barrels. They give it a label. And then everybody gets a Glencairn glass. And you basically make notes about the whiskey, like how it smells, how it tastes, the aftertaste, or whatever they call it. I don't know. There's a fancier word for it. So you write that down, you grade it, and then we voted as a group on which barrel would be the official Barry on Deck barrel of Prideful Goat. And this is us. There's everybody that had won. It was Justin Swinford, Fidel Lamone, myself, and Jen, Crystal, Amos, and House. That was going left to right on your screen. So Justin, Fidel, myself, and Jen, Crystal, Amos, House, and then, of course, Kristopher Hart himself, who made this all possible. The winning barrel right there in the middle. We all signed it, and they're actually, the dopest thing about this, well, not the dopest thing is that there's going to be whiskey on the shelves of Houston stores with the Barry on Deck logo on it. I'm so pumped about that, but they're actually going to give me the barrel when they're done. And they were like, you can auction it. I was like, auction it, bitch. I'm putting that right here in this studio. You see where that chair is? That chair is going to go. Like, that chair is going to go, and there's going to be a whiskey barrel right here in this corner. Now, I probably will take some of the bottles that I have back here made by Kathy Denson and some of the whiskey that Mr. Hart gave me, plus a bottle of the Barry on Deck Prideful Goat, and put it on that barrel. Are we kidding me? Auction it off, you dumbass? Who are you talking to? That ain't happening. So I'm so pumped about this. I'm so blessed, and I just can't think of enough for making it happen. And if you were able to attend, if you were one of the 5 lucky winners, and Jen, I appreciate you guys coming out. I hope you had fun. That shit was good times for sure. Damn, Walt. Damn. Walt said beautiful people and House. Damn. That's messed up. Can we roast the pick? No, you can't roast the pick. Nobody consented to that. No. We were just, why does everything have to be a goddamn roast, Tony? It's just 7 people hanging out, enjoying a Saturday, doing something cool and different. Why do you got to make it ugly and mean? No. Let us have that moment and don't be a dick about it. By the way, Mina is safe and sound for all who asked. Did he travel? Oh, was he driving to Florida? Is that what happened? Mina drank all the whiskey at our tasting. I don't know what this means. Okay, we've got inside talk going. I'm not concerned about inside talk. Let's go to the show. All right, let's do our sports news of the day. Here you go. Here are the headlines. Ronald Acuna done for the season. A torn ACL. Not good. Hold on. I'm not playing I'm not playing the song because I don't know what the inside talk is about. So you guys chat among yourselves. We're going to do the show. I don't know what that means. If I don't know how to describe it to everybody, it doesn't make sense to everybody else that wasn't there. Ronald Acuna done for the season with a torn ACL, so that's not good. You guys want to talk about the young stars of Major League Baseball being Fernando Tatis Jr., Vlad Guerrero Jr., Shohei Ohtani. Ronald Acuna is right up there in that mix. And so, this is a big blow for baseball and a big blow for the Reds. He'll be back. He will be back, hopefully. Hopefully, he will be the same. That's the concern when you have a torn ACL like that. You know, I know surgeries are good and I know things bounce back, but our players bounce back better than ever now. But, man, you hope that guy doesn't lose a step or any of his swagger that he has, because he is fun to watch and he's a hell of a baseball player. 7 NFL teams have exceeded the 85% vaccination threshold, so good for them. Moving forward, you'd like to see more than that, considering how many teams are in the NFL, considering training camps are right around the corner, considering the season is only a couple of months away. Mark Sanchez is leaving ESPN for a game analyst gig at Fox. So Mark Sanchez going from studio analyst to wanting to be the next Tony Romo. Let's be real. He ain't Tony Romo. He's not. I don't know. Maybe he will be good. Maybe that's just presumptuous of me. But I don't feel like he's going to be the man. He might be decent, an easy listen. I don't know. He's dreamy. He's easy on the eyes. That's for sure. USA basketball now 0-2 after losing its exhibition match to Australia. The panic in people's tweets and faces and everything else is fucking hysterical. I mean, these are exhibition matches. This is Floyd Mayweather going the distance with Logan Paul. It doesn't mean shit. It does not mean a goddamn thing. This is ridiculous to be upset about it. I mean, okay. They got beat. Who gives a shit? They've been playing together a week. This is not a concern. We will talk about Stephen A. Smith dogging the shit out of the Nigerian team and having to apologize for that, along with his apology tour for his remarks about Shohei Ohtani. When did Sanchez quit football? I want to say 2018. I want to say that was his last season was 2018, I believe. And Clarence says, when was he at ESPN? I think he started in 2019 at ESPN. Last thing on the list of interest to some of us locals here in Houston for sure. Tad Brown named CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils. So you've got the reunited tandem or duo, I should say, of Tad Brown and Daryl Morey out in Philadelphia. Tad Brown now also the CEO of the New Jersey Devils. He takes over for the I don't remember the dude's name that stepped down, but he had both of those positions as well. Pretty interesting. Tad and Daryl link up again. Depending on who you talk to in this city, a formidable duo or a bunch of ass clowns. And I won't throw any names out of there, but I used to work with the guy that thought the latter. So there's your sports news if you were wondering. Yeah, expect the Philadelphia 76ers to transform into the Rockets slowly but surely, because it looks like it's happening. This is almost like, you know how the Patriots... or I should say the Texans slowly morphed into the Patriots of the South. The Sixers are slowly going to morph into the Rockets of the North. It just looks like that's what's happening. KD said, I'm just saying the international side of basketball did get a bit better. Well, think about that. The Australian team had what, 5 NBA players on there? 4, something like that? I mean, if you could run out 3 or 4 NBA players on a court, they know what to expect. They're not intimidated by this team. They're not intimidated by the players on this team. That's an advantage for every team out there. So when you see some NBA players playing for other teams, they know what to expect. It's a calming, it's a calming situation in that locker room, and a lot of times. And plus, if you got 3 or 4 on the floor, it significantly increases the chances. Of being able to put together a win, especially since a lot of those dudes weren't in the playoffs or, got bounced early enough that they were able to join their team who had probably already been playing together. They just grabbed the playbook and fit right in, as opposed to Team USA, who was made a little later, I'm sure. So, yeah, that's, I do agree. international basketball is better because a lot of the guys from the NBA are playing international basketball as well. So there's your sports headlines. I hate to do this, but we got to cover this. It's a big story right now. It is big, big news. We talked about it yesterday when it went down. We got to talk about Stephen A. Smith and the aftermath of his remarks about Shohei Ohtani. We also got to talk about his remarks about the Nigerian basketball team, who then, based on what he said, then basically went after him. So we're going to get to all of that. So let's start with, by the way, the break video for today is the full 5 minutes of his apology. I wasn't going to run the whole thing, but I got to give credit where credit is due. He didn't run from it. He tried to explain his remarks immediately following, and then he apologized when that didn't work. And then he went on First Take and apologized again where he had originally made the remarks. So props for being a stand-up dude and saying he's sorry and apologizing directly to Shohei Ohtani. A lot of people, including White Magic on the Discord, were like, well, people that were mad about Rachel Nichols aren't mad about this. Well, I don't know who that is. Can you name specifics? Because I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing Stephen A. Smith getting absolutely raked over the coals. And deservedly so, if he offended people. And we talked about it yesterday. I felt like he could have said his message a different way and it wouldn't have been offensive. See, it's like when you write a joke, okay? If I write a joke and the punchline, I'll give you a perfect example. I wrote a joke about, I didn't write the joke, but there was a joke on Barry on Sports about Robert Griffin III and him trying to defend the fact that his wife does in fact, a white woman does in fact have a big ass. Like this is what he's fighting about on the internet. She does have a big booty and he's out there defending it. And the joke as written and as I performed was even in retirement, he's still having trouble seeing the backs. So many people on TikTok were saying shit like, why are you attacking Robert Griffin III? And why is this white dude making fun of this black dude? And I'm like, if you listen to the joke isn't, the joke is who does it land on? That's the person that should be offended or people. That joke doesn't land on Robert Griffin III. The actual joke, if you pay attention, is about the fact that she doesn't have an ass. That's what I'm saying. He's having trouble seeing the backs isn't commentary on his NFL experience. It's saying essentially we can all see that she ain't got no ass. It's just a silly rudimentary joke, but there's a layer to it, and you got to figure out who does that land on. Just like with the Nigerian thing, right? That Stephen A. Smith did, which we'll get to. But with Ohtani, the same thing. What he was trying to say, and what I think he was trying to say, but he did it poorly, what I think he was saying is that baseball and baseball fans are old and curmudgeons who refuse to accept the fact that some people aren't going to speak English, so they will ignore that, as will general American sports fans. And if that's what he was trying to say, then that directly reflects on the American people that he's calling out, as opposed to nobody wants to hear this dude because he needs a translator. Those are two diverging paths. Like you've got to make sure you're very clear about this. So I think he realized he fucked up and he had to go out and apologize. And so he started doing that. So I've got a ton of videos for you. And the first one was Stephen A. partly saying he was sorry. Here was the beginning of it. Again, I'll run the full 5 minutes of the break, but this was some of the video.
Let me be the first to stand up and say that I want to express my sincere apologies to the Asian community and the Asian American community. I am a black man. I religiously go off about minorities being marginalized in this nation.
So let's talk about the beginning of this, because I think the instinct for some folks would be like, oh, he's going to go to the I'm black and defend racism. I mean, the track record speaks for itself. if you are in full on damage control mode like Stephen A. Smith is, I think it is wise to point out, hey, I misspoke. I fucked up. And I think that my track record and my history should and does speak for itself on where I fall on issues of race. And I think that's fair and valid if you have been on the right side of this argument forever. So I'm not going to say that, you shouldn't bring that up. Some people are like, that's the equivalent of some of my best friends are black or whatever because you say something racist or something about black people. It's really not, though. It's about owning the fact that he fucked up, but that's not who he truly is. We talk about on this show, and I've talked about it when I was on The Usual Suspects. There's a big difference between saying something racist and being racist. Saying something sexist and being a sexist. Saying something homophobic or being homophobic. There's differences to it. Stephen A. Smith isn't racist. He's not a racist. He said something out of ignorance. The same way that Rachel Nichols did. She's not racist. She said something out of ignorance. So I think first of all, I just wish that if people fuck up, the very first person that deserves the apology is the person that it was targeted to, which he didn't do. Later he does in the 5 minutes. But if I fuck, I should say when I fuck up, because I feel like nowadays, everybody that does this, everybody that's on TV, I make jokes on TV about people all the time. Everybody that's on radio, everybody does stand-up, everybody that talks into a microphone at some point is going to accidentally or on purpose offend somebody or a group of people. And they're going to have to, look, all of you say shit that you would get lambasted and regret in real life. All of you. Every single one of you and me and us, we all say shit that if our whole life and everything we ever said was made public, the entire goddamn country would be canceled. So let's own that and let's acknowledge that. But let's also say, look, you got to own shit that you do. And that's what Stephen A. did, and that's fine. And I think there was a big difference the way Stephen A. did it and Rachel Nichols did it. And I think it's all in the nuance of what you do. If I'm Stephen A. Smith, I look in the camera and I say, first and foremost, I want to apologize directly to Shohei Ohtani. I already have over text, which he should have done, or called him. Hey, man, I'm sorry. That's not what's in my heart. That was me trying to make a point about Americans being unaccepting or whatever, and it came out wrong. And then you look at the camera because that's where you said it, and you say to Shohei Ohtani, I want to publicly apologize for my ignorance. What I said had no place being said on these airwaves, and it's not what I meant. It's not what's in my heart, or whatever. However you want to apologize. And then you apologize to Asians, the Asian community, the Asian American community, and so on and so forth, and continue with his 5 minutes that he did. Defend yourself, your track record, and everything. I'm good with all that. What else are you supposed to do? Fuck it, I quit. Like, come on. You know, he didn't throw out racial slurs and say things that would, it's called being an adult, and you fucked up. Your job is to say shit, and you said something in a cancel culture, in a heightened sensitive environment that we live in right now. Either one, people are going to get offended, or two, they're going to get offended easily, or three, they're going to be ready to pounce when they see you've offended someone else, even if it's not them. It's where we're at in this country. So, good for him. He finally got it right. Not how I would have done it, but he got it. He did apologize. So good for him. I think that's good. What I also want to point out is the fact that ESPN right now has got to be absolutely fucking reeling. You go from Rachel Nichols and the issues that she had with Maria Taylor and talking about their track record of diversity sucks to this. All on their airwaves, all with their employees. You know they just got to be like, what the fuck? And I will say this, it's spread out too. It went from a white woman saying mean shit and inappropriate shit to a black dude saying inappropriate shit. I guarantee you there's at least 3 white dudes that are like, Thank God it wasn't us this time. Come on, fam. There's got to be 3 white dudes in ESPN or in this country that are like, woo! Thank God it ain't one of us this time saying ignorant shit. Because usually, let's be real, white dudes, it's us saying the ignorant shit. So you're a little like, ooh, okay, let's see how this goes. But ESPN is just like, what the fuck, man? What is happening in our environment? So I think what they did is they get Jeff Passan. They had to get a white dude to go on and be rational about what happened and the ignorance that Stephen A. Smith was saying. So they take Jeff Passan, who, let me be the first to point out, I am not a fan of Jeff Passan in any way, shape, or form. But I am a fan of what he did here. And this is a clip of it.
Shohei Ohtani came to this country at 23 years old. He left behind his family. He left behind his culture. He left behind his country. He left behind everything he knows to go and pursue the American dream. He wanted to come here and be great. And he is the sort of person who this show and who this network and who this country should embrace. We are not the ones who should be trafficking in ignorance. Shohei Ohtani came to this country.
Good for ESPN for allowing Jeff Passan to say this. We shouldn't be trafficking in ignorance. Now, I have the full video, and I'd like you to listen to it.
Stephen A., I appreciate your willingness.
This is 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
It shows that you will listen. And
but I think this is worthy of listening.
I have to tell a story here about Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani came to this country at 23 years old. He left behind his family. He left behind his culture. He left behind his
So you just heard this.
He left behind everything he knows to go and pursue the American dream. He wanted to come here and be great. And he is the sort of person who this show and who this network and who this country should embrace. We are not the ones who should be trafficking in ignorance. We are not the ones who should be perpetuating false ideas that, unfortunately, far too many people out there believe. We should look at Shohei Ohtani as a bastion of what this country and this sports world is about. And you know what he's done? He has reached that greatness. He has achieved that. He has found it here in America. And he's done so without speaking English publicly, and he's done so speaking English to his teammates.
I didn't hear a word he said. I didn't hear a word he said because Crystal ruined the whole goddamn vibe of this. Crystal just pointed out that Jeff Passan didn't blink one time during this speech. Can we all let's just hit fucking mute and let's just watch Jeff Passan talk for damn near 2 minutes and never fucking blink once. Let's
Stephen A., I appreciate your willingness to apologize.
He hasn't blinked yet.
It shows that you will listen. And I feel like I have to tell a story here about Shohei Ohtani.
Still no blinking.
Shohei Ohtani came to this country at 23 years old. He left behind his family.
Still no blinking.
He left behind his culture. He left behind.
We're 20 seconds in. This motherfucker hasn't blinked yet.
Everything he knows to go and pursue the American dream.
I don't know if he blinked at the cut.
Come here and be great.
We're 30 seconds in. The dude hasn't blinked yet.
Who this show?
Michael Caravatta says he's a serial killer.
This country should embrace.
He still hasn't blinked.
We're not the ones who should be trafficking in ignorance.
What the fuck?
The ones who should be perpetuating false ideas that, unfortunately, far too many people out there.
What is happening?
We should look at Shohei
this
Ohtani
motherfucker
as
won't
a
blink.
bastion of what this country and
the
sports world is about. And you know what he's done?
He blinked. That's what he's done.
Greatness. He has achieved that. He has found it here in America.
You guys.
He's done so without speaking English publicly.
We are 1 minute and 8 seconds into this goddamn video, and this fucking weirdo hasn't blinked one goddamn time. I am so angry. Why won't this guy fucking blink? Who does this? How long? I gotta Google this. This is so goddamn far off the map. How long can a human go without blinking? While there's no specific number that documents how long an average person can go without blinking, the current world record is 40 minutes. What the fuck? 40 minutes and 59 seconds from Fergal Eyesore Fleming. Oh, well, let's all meet Jeff Eyesore Passan. Michael Caravatta said Passan is only the second non-blinker I've ever seen. The other was the guy living in the basement making sculptures, and Barry showed us both. Crystal says, I don't trust people that don't blink. Oh my God. MLB across the camera has a gun and tell him to say something. All right, let's keep it going. We are a minute 8 in. The message is lost. No one gives a fuck what Jeff Passan is saying, but God damn it, I just want him to blink. We are a minute 8 in. Let's go.
And he's done so speaking English to his teammates. The reality about Shohei Ohtani,
Oh, he blinked. He just blinked.
is that
Oh, it was so fast. If you blinked, you missed it. Okay.
he found it here in America, and he's done so without speaking English.
I think at
publicly.
110.
And he's done so speaking English to his teammates. The reality about Shohei
Right
Ohtani,
there.
Stephen A.,
114. This fucking weirdo went a minute and 14 seconds without blinking. A minute and 14 seconds without blinking. This is so good. I feel like I'm overcompensating now for him. Jesus. Oh my God, what a weirdo. And the message has been lost. I can't even. Let's just pick it up now. Let's watch
Stephen
the
A.,
rest of the message. We were at 114. Let's pick it up from there because this guy's a psychopath. Here we go.
The reality about Shohei Ohtani, Stephen A., is that he is a story that we should all be wanting to tell. And it's unfortunate.
Now he did.
that
Oh, now
something
he's
like
doing it all the
yesterday
time.
happened. But this gives us the opportunity to come out here today and talk about what Shohei Ohtani is doing. And what he's doing right now is something that we have not seen since Babe Ruth, something that we have not seen since Bullet Rogan and Double Duty Ratcliffe in the Negro Leagues, something I never thought that I would see again, which is someone who's starting the All-Star game today and batting first the day after putting on an electric performance in the home run derby.
Preach.
You talked about yesterday how you, on this show, addressed Shohei Ohtani only twice. Why? Look at what he's doing. That's what we should be asking ourselves.
That's a good point.
It's not that Shohei Ohtani doesn't speak English publicly and that people don't embrace him. It's that if people don't embrace him because he doesn't speak English publicly, they're the problem, not Shohei Ohtani.
Amen.
I'm glad that.
Now, look, so far, I got to say this. I'm not a Jeff Passan guy. I feel like he didn't give the Astros a fair shake. He's a Yankees honk, and he's a Red Sox honk, and fuck this dude. But I'm telling you right now, I never thought that I would be giving kudos and props to Jeff Passan for the things that he said. If you go back and listen to that message with all the blinking jokes out of the way, it's got a great point. Why are we not talking about Shohei Ohtani? It says a lot about us and not the fact that he might have surpassed everybody as the greatest ball player on the planet. I mean, we talk about Mike Trout. We talked about Tatis. We should be giving more run to what this man is doing. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. So let's get back to the video.
Stephen, first, look at what he's doing. Speak English publicly, they're the problem, not Shohei Ohtani. I'm glad that we are talking about him right now. A point you brought up yesterday, Stephen A., about marketing Ohtani.
By the way, I just want to point out the reason there was a cut there was it was Max Kellerman defending the fact that they just don't talk baseball on First Take. We don't talk baseball. So if we don't talk baseball, we don't talk about Shohei Ohtani. Okay. Well, maybe the fact that you've got a guy who hasn't done anything like this since Babe Ruth doing stuff like this should mean you should talk more about baseball and him. And the fact that the future stars of the sport are amazing.
I have a 13-year-old. His two favorite players are Fernando Tatis Jr. and Shohei Ohtani. You know, Tatis does speak English, but he's from the Dominican Republic. Ohtani
Stephen A's like,
does
this
not speak
motherfucker
English
talks too
publicly,
much.
but knows how to. My son doesn't care You know what he cares about? He cares about the fact that Shohei Ohtani hits 450-foot home runs seemingly every day.
Yeah.
And he cares about the fact that Fernando Tatis Jr. is like the coolest person that he has ever seen.
Yeah, fact.
That's what baseball needs. That is the language that sells itself to fans.
Fact.
It's not what anyone can.
Shut up, Stephen A. Let him finish.
I ask you this in all seriousness. Stephen A., you have been in locker rooms and clubhouses for your entire professional career. Has an athlete ever said anything to you that makes you think, boy, I want to watch this game. I want to watch him play? No, we don't watch them for the words they say. We watch them for the things they do.
Woo! Jeff Passan was cold with it, folks. Jeff Passan, a dude that I don't like, I think is a sniveling little writer. The Yankees and Astros are the biggest cheaters. Fuck that dude. In every other way. But on this, that dude was cold with it. That dude was cold with it. He had great points to make. There's really nothing I can disagree with. And I do find it interesting that ESPN is like, go out there and chastise our crown jewel, our clickbait master, the guy that keeps everybody talking about him and us. Now go out there, and basically what Jeff Passan had to do was go out and not just publicly chastise Stephen A. Smith, but make him look like a bit of a fool. I mean, he didn't go out and clown him, but he went out and was like, what are you talking about, bro? Why are you out here saying this when you know goddamn well you've been in a locker room? You don't give a shit about watching Michael Jordan because he's an eloquent speaker. I got to give props to Jeff Passan, man. And props where props are due. I thought that was outstanding. Outstanding. And well done. And I think ESPN really needed somebody to go out and say something like that and be the voice of reason. Mark G said, I personally enjoy watching interviews with translators. It's so interesting to me. That's the thing, is I don't think twice about it. It doesn't bother me. And maybe it's just because I've watched so much MMA and UFC, and it is a very international sport. MMA is. If you watch MMA, you're going to see tons of translators because you've got fighters from all over the world who don't give a fuck about speaking English or American. They just want to fight, and they're damn good at it. And they're here, so they have to be able to relay their message. And they try and they learn, but who gives a fuck? Shohei Ohtani, I'll just go ahead and own it. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player on the planet right now. Why should we hold him to a different standard than Mike Trout or Tatis or anybody else? Let's just own the fact that this dude and what he's doing is fucking amazing. Who gives a shit if he wants to have a translator in public? And let's go back to this, because this is the part that I think gets lost in all of this. That if you go back and you understand guys that come over from a Latin American country to play baseball, right? Like a Jose Altuve or whoever it is. A lot of them are trying to learn English just simply because they want to be able to communicate better with their teammates or whatever. But there are also many athletes that are learning English as a second language, are embarrassed to use it in public until they feel comfortable with it, because they don't want people making fun of them. They know if they go out there and say things wrong or backwards, like me trying to speak Spanish, my God, I sound like an imbecile when I try to speak Spanish. I mean, I sound like an imbecile when I speak English, but it's even worse when I speak Spanish. So could you imagine? Let me give you 6 lessons in Mandarin and then put you on Chinese television and have you try to speak it to a country full of people. You would be scared and nervous and embarrassed. And that's exactly what a lot of these athletes go through. And this is why they would rather continue to try to learn and perfect English as their second language and use an interpreter in public so that they don't feel, or they don't make themselves or set themselves up to be ridiculed for broken English or bad English or whatever the perception might be. And I think that's what gets lost in a lot of this. So I'm curious what you have to say. I've been trying to keep up with the chat a little bit. Mark says that the reason Passan didn't blink is because he's a white dude talking about a black dude being racist, that he's scared out of his mind he's going to say something wrong. Yeah, very well could be. Michael said it would have been great if at the end Stephen H is like, do you even blink, bro? Oh my gosh. I mean, the Angels still won't win shit, but yeah, he is the best in the league right now. Yeah, that's why I went on the rant a week or two ago about the fact that the Angels are the worst goddamn baseball franchise in the history of baseball. You literally have had back-to-back the two greatest players on the planet, and you hadn't done shit with it. Give them up. Send Trout to the Yankees. Send Ohtani to the Red Sox or the Dodgers, or I don't know, the Astros would be cool. That'd be... let them men's out. Let them go. Let them be great somewhere other than your raggedy ass franchise. Clarence like, preach, you non-blinking serial killer. Amos has an interesting take. I think he wasn't blinking because he was reading. Well, at the end when he was talking about his kid, he stopped blinking again. So I don't know if that theory holds water, but it very well could have been. Very well could have been. Angels, the Players Association, and his agent, this is from Total Dallas, need to do better at marketing him. True. That's a fact. Again, the point I'll use, just not even to be stereotypical, just through association, is Yao Ming, an Asian player that came over and had a lot of success, was doing national commercials and advertising. It can be done. It can absolutely be done and succeed. I mean, everybody was walking around talking about, can I write a check with Yao? Robert said he is a bitch still. Oh, okay. Justice Swimmer said Andre Johnson's my favorite example of let your work speak for itself. Yeah, that dude don't talk at all. At all. Clarence says Stephen A had to eat shit this morning, and rightfully so. Yeah. Chris Davis. Okay, so after this incident, will MLB work on being better with marketing their stars? No, they won't. They just won't. They never have been. MLB, the only time that they ever had really, really good, compelling marketing was McGuire and Sosa. That's the last time I can really remember. And that wasn't MLB doing it. That was McGuire and Sosa steroiding up and hitting baseballs all over the planet. But it took on the field that kind of home run chase and race and friendship. And, you know, that was the last time baseball was really, really relevant in the public, in the general public, non-hardcore baseball fans' eyes, or even non-hardcore sports fans' eyes. Let's be real. But baseball did their best to market it, but they didn't have to. All they had to do was let ESPN show highlights of McGuire hit 1, Sosa hit 2. Next night, McGuire hit 2, Sosa hit 1. This is so great. Baseball didn't do that. The players did that. Baseball is terrible at marketing its own sport. Awful. Because they get hung up on that shit of the unwritten rules and the way it used to be. And, you know, I mean, Bryce Harper, my God, bless his heart, for years was like, just let us play. Let us be us. Let us be kids. Let us have fun. Let us flip our bat and wear crazy hair and do antics on the base paths when we hit a home run and celebrate and have fun in this boring fucking game. He begged for it. And what did he get for it? He got hit in the ribs. He got plunked. He got chastised by players. He got chastised by baseball. And now everyone's like, what do we do? We got all these young stars. Should have listened to Bryce Harper a long fucking time ago. Marsha said, I know too that a lot of Japanese may know English, but are very shy of speaking because, yes, their accent. I totally understand it. And because they've been, you know, the accents and the stereotypes of the way that maybe Japanese people in your instance, Marsha, speak English, that would make me hesitant. Absolutely. Marsha said, my mom has a heavy accent with English and people have harped on her. Having an accent, not being fluent in English doesn't mean one is dumb. 100% fact. 100% fact. She said it shows how classless people are. And that goes back to my point. That's why these ball players, that's why these athletes that are from other countries, when they are going through the process, or maybe have learned some English, or maybe have learned English, but because their accent is what it is, or maybe the way that they've learned or speak it, and they're not comfortable with it, so they don't do it. Between soccer and MMA, I'm used to translators. That's a good one. Clarence said he watched the home run derby because of him. And we're going to get to that, I promise. But this is something that I wanted to make sure we covered because we have a lot to get to on the home run derby. Shohei will be on the Dodgers or Yankees in a few. Jesus. What else we got? Bryce got $330 million. Yeah, but nobody marketed the dude. If you showed a picture back when Bryce Harper was the king of baseball, if you showed a picture to the average or maybe even not a COVID cough, maybe even non-sports fan of LeBron James, and I mean, you could throw in Tom Brady if you wanted to, but definitely LeBron James and Bryce Harper, I guarantee you, it would probably be 3-1 the people that would recognize LeBron, but not who Bryce Harper is. Guarantee you. Guarantee you. What's up, Chicken Joe? No, not a 3-hour show. Dude, I am fucking exhausted. We have been streaming on Sports Right every other day since July 6th, plus doing this show, plus the third hour on Friday, plus the whiskey tasting, plus all the work I do. You trying to kill me, D-Mata? Fucking exhausted, man. Can't be adding hours. I'm supposed to be subtracting them. I love you, though, for wanting to keep it going. Has anybody listened to some of us Cajuns? My grandmother needed subtitles. Yeah, my family, I found out through genealogy, we have a lot of Quakers and Cajuns in our family. It's true. Total Dallas, thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. I'm not used to getting these super chats. This during the show. I'm digging this, buddy. Thank you. I'm going to do a shot in your honor just for sending out some loot. Hold on. Let's do some crown in honor of Total Dallas because I appreciate your generosity, my friend. Very much so. Mr. Dallas, thank you, buddy. Cheers to you. Cheers to everybody out there. Shut up, Flip, you raggedy bitch. Why'd I do that? Fidel said Coach O from Louisiana needs a translator. Yeah. He sounds like Boomhauer on King of the Hill. Yeah, he does. I mean, that's... all right, so what did Total Dallas say? I didn't even read it. The general public just needs to get past the misconception that English proficiency is a sign of intelligence. 100%. I will admit, though, can I just admit something, chat? Hey, chat. Can I just admit a flaw? And I don't have many. But I think Southern people sound stupid. I've admitted this on the radio. And I think I've admitted it here. But since we're having this discussion, I don't think someone that's learned an actual second language sounds dumb. I think someone that only knows one language but talks like they're from the South sounds really stupid. Like, could you imagine if Stephen Hawking had a Southern accent? I'd be like, that guy's a fucking idiot. Be like, well, I don't know how you would do a Southern computer voice. But it's true, though. Think about that. If he's like, I'm telling y'all, what if Einstein was fucking sound like he was from South Carolina? I'm telling y'all, relativity is super easy. If y'all would just listen, E equals MC squared. You'd be like, man, would you shut the fuck up and sit down? So I stand by it. Clarence said, but you're Southern. Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. Hey, fuck you, man. Tony said Southern accent greater than Boston accent. Robert's bringing up New Yorkers. No, I think New Yorkers sound tough. I think Boston people sound tough. I think Southerners sound stupid. Oh, I do declare. E equals MC squared. You'd be like, what the fuck? But if you had like a New Yorker, be like, hey, motherfucker. E is fucking MC squared. You fucking piece of shit. You'd be like, yeah, you're right. Yes, sir. Okay. I'm telling you, Southern accents don't work. Don't work. Take my word for it. Right down yonder. Yeah, exactly. All right. Before we get to the break, I've got the full Stephen A. apology. When we get back, I'm done with Stephen A. Actually, you know what? Before we go to the break, I wanted to show you this because this is ESPN also. ESPN also trying to right the wrongs or right the ship after all of the insensitive remarks by the people that work for them. So they had June Lee on, and this is what he had to say about Stephen A. Smith, and then we're going to go to a break. So listen to this.
So much of the Western media, American media, us at ESPN are so unprepared to talk about Asian Americans in a nuanced way that speaks authentically to our experience in this country. Some of that falls on us in needing to speak up about what it's like to be Asian American, but it also falls on the institutions, on ESPN, on other media outlets covering the Asian American community to know about the generational history, the generational trauma in this country, the killing of Vincent Chin. So much of the Western media.
So, I mean, ESPN knows that they've got a problem. If they didn't, I trust me when I tell you. If they didn't, these guys wouldn't be letting June Lee and letting Jeff Passan say and do the things that they said and did on air to address these issues. So I want to make sure that we point out the fact that ESPN knows it's fucking bad right now. And they're trying to, I guess, be open about it and have these discussions. Excuse me. So, I props to them at least for trying to address the issue. And props to Stephen A. for doing his full apology, which you're going to see right now. If you haven't seen Stephen A.'s apology, I judge for yourself the words of the man whose words got him in trouble. This is going to be a 5-minute break. I'm going to go get another Diet Coke. Who's calling me? I don't know. Don't they know I'm busy? I'm going to go get another Diet Coke. I'm going to go pee. Whatever you do during the break, whether it's pee or poop or smoke a joint, whatever it is you do, you go do that. Meet me back here in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere, you raggedy bitch. I mean it. Stick around. This is Barry on Deck. I'm your host, Barry Laminack. I'll see you in 5.
I don't need press releases. I don't need statements from the company. I don't need all of this other stuff. Let me be the first to stand up and say that I want to express my sincere apologies to the Asian community and the Asian American community. I am a black man. I religiously go off about minorities being marginalized in this nation. I instantly go off, repeatedly bring up the fact that if you are a member of a community that feels disenfranchised in any way, that's something that we need to battle, that we need to fend off to the best of our ability as a nation. These are the kind of things that I bring up. And the reason why I bring up my blackness is because of this. On many occasions, what I have said, when people have said something that is offensive in any way to the minority community, it's not about how you feel. It's about how they feel. And the reality of the situation is that you have Asians and Asian Americans out there that obviously were very, very offended by what I had to say yesterday. And I just want to look into the camera and extend my sincere apologies. That was not my intent at all, but I'm not going to get into all of that because I do understand that a lot of racists out there are quick to say that was not my intent. That's not where I'm going here. I was wrong, period. There's no excuse. This is not ESPN. This is not Disney. For a lot of people out there going off about Disney and ESPN, no. This was me. Wasn't Max, wasn't Molly, wasn't the producers on First Take, wasn't the bosses. It was me. I said it. And the reality is that I was completely clueless as to the kind of impact that this would have on the Asian and the Asian American community. That was not my intent at all. And so I just want to say we're going to talk about a lot of things. Jeff Passan is going to be on the show today. June Lee is going to be on the show. I think Eduardo Perez is going to be on the show, along with a host of others. And I welcome this conversation. I don't have a problem with it, but I just want people to know, here's where I stand. The second that I was informed about how hurt a group of people in this nation was off of what I said, that's all that matters to me. All that matters to me, because I don't intend to hurt people like that. That's not who I am. That's not who I've ever been. If I have a problem with you, you know it. If I mean to offend you, you know it. I don't hide from it. I'll let you know I'm coming. That wasn't the case yesterday. But nevertheless, it doesn't negate the fact that they were detrimentally affected by my words. I have friends from the Asian American community that expressed their disappointment in what I had to say because of all the things that they have had to deal with, the anti-Asian stuff going on, the Asian hate that's been percolating in this nation over the last few years, and we all know to some degree why that is. I contributed to that yesterday, and that's inexcusable. So that's on me, and I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community, and the Walt Disney and the ESPN, because I'm not about bringing this kind of attention to the company.
And you know
and I did yesterday, and that's on me.
I so appreciate about you, though. As soon as you realize you made the mistake, you apologize, you own it. There's no script. You look in front of the camera, and you said that you're wrong. And we're going to have a bigger conversation now, and I'm looking forward to that. And it's an important conversation that we need to have. Anything you wanted to add, Max, before I bring Jeff in?
Simply that I know Stephen A. Smith. We've been working together, I don't know how many years now.
5.
Stephen A. Smith is not only, he's counting the days, he's not only not racist. I can tell you he is not racist. He is anti-racist, stridently anti-racist.
Absolutely. It's a teachable moment for everyone. We have to continue to grow. Yep.
I want to also extend I did it on Twitter, but I also want to extend a personal apology to Ohtani himself, because going into the home run derby last night and having to deal with all of these headlines that I created, I certainly didn't intend for that to be the case either. So I certainly owe him an apology. I want to apologize to him, his loved ones, everybody that cares for him and is in the circle. Again, I owe him an apology as well. And I also don't want to escape, on a different note, the Nigerians as well, because the Nigerian team that beat Team USA, when I didn't pronounce someone's name, apparently they took offense to that. And I'm a guy who is a huge fan of Francis Ngannou and Israel Adesanya and Usman. I love that brother, the Nigerian Nightmare. And to listen to them over the years highlight what they've had to endure to achieve what they've achieved in this nation and throughout the world. Certainly, I want to make sure that I apologize to them as well. I was busy debating you about Team USA basketball, and on my show, I also talked about how Kevin Durant had a shot blocked by a dude named Precious, because that was his name and what have you. And, I was just trying to be funny and all of that other stuff, but they obviously took offense to that. I did not know. And so I apologize for that, and I'll do better, and that is that.
Hey, welcome back to hour number 2 of Barry on Deck. I'm your host, Barry Laminack. Thank you guys for sticking around through the break. Those of you that did, those of you that didn't, can go fuck yourself. Why would you leave? Why would you leave? That was a really good, heartfelt apology by Stephen A. Smith. Looks like some of the chat bought into it. Some of the chat did not. Eric Resendez said this is BS. It's just damage control, and I want to keep my job speak. Justin said Stephen A's a lot of things. He's definitely not dumb. Stephen A. took it on the chin. Rachel Nichols had male counterparts come defend her instead of taking it on the chin. Well, I mean, Max stepped in. You needed to wait before you posted that. Max stepped in and tried to defend Stephen A. Excuse me. So, I mean, look. Here's the thing. God forbid something like that were to happen to me. I mean, I do say crazy shit. I say offensive shit sometimes. I would hope that people that know me and know what's in my heart would come to my defense as well if I were to slip up and fuck up. That's just the truth of it. I'll go back to what I said in hour one. If you talk into one of these bad boys for a living, the chances are you're going to fuck up and offend someone or say something to offend someone or do something to offend someone at some point. That was not the case 30, 40 years ago. I mean, you probably still were offending them, but people didn't have a voice. People didn't feel like they had a voice. This country is totally different now. The marginalized and the disenfranchised are no longer expected to remain silent. So while I do agree with, I don't know who said it, but the fact of the matter is, I felt like Rachel Nichols avoided a true apology on air. She said, don't make yourself the story, so I'm not going to be the story. All I'm going to say is, I hope we have a good finals, and I'm sorry to my bosses and to the network and to anybody else that I offended. She didn't, it felt contrived. It's just my opinion. What Stephen A. Smith did, like it or not, agree with it or not, I felt like he said, I don't need a script. I don't need the company to do this for me. I'm going to own this. And I felt like he genuinely spoke from his heart. You may not agree with what he said or how he said it, but what's the difference? Because you're going to be the same person that when somebody's up there reading an apology letter that a publicist wrote for them, you're going to chastise them too. At least speak from your heart, at least so we know you mean it. I know I've said those things. So if I'm going to chastise somebody that reads an apology letter, Astros, I'm at least going to give credit to Stephen A. Smith for having the balls after you fucked up so bad to come back on TV #1 the next day, look in the camera and go, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. He owned that shit. He did. He did apologize. At the end of that break video, he apologized to the Nigerian team. And if you're wondering what happened with the Nigerian part, let me play this video for you.
When you talk about bona fide stars.
This is why he got in trouble with his Nigerian comments.
We can pick at least 15 to 20 of them. Half of them are on this damn roster. There's no excuse to lose to Nigeria. Some dude, Gabe Namdi, who goes by Gabe Vincent for the Miami Heat, Caleb Agata, Namu, or however the hell you pronounce his name. You give up 60 points on threes? Excuse me. You can do better than that. And oh, by the way, let's also look at Greg Popovich, because he's a 5-time champion. One of the elite.
I mean, you don't even need to see the rest of it. That part of it is what was offensive to the Nigerians and Nigerian basketball team, and they even said as much. A 1-minute clip with no basketball analysis and pure disrespect to the names of our culture. Do better, please, Stephen A. Smith. This is low even for you. And so, yeah, if you were paying attention in the break video, he owned that as well. He said, I also want to apologize to the Nigerian basketball team and the players and the community and Nigerians. Of course, he did some of my best friends are Nigerian, Francis Ngannou. And, fam, you don't need to do all that. Just say you're sorry. Which I do find it a little bit interesting that if we're being honest, white people have had the bulk of fuck ups in this regard. And when we say something or do something racist, the white guy responds, hey, I'm not racist. Some of my best friends are black or Hispanic or whatever the fuck they did or whoever they offended. They try to let you know, hey, I mean, guys, I'm not saying that I wouldn't do that. If someone called me a racist, maybe I fucked up and said something I shouldn't have. I'd be like, I am married to a Hispanic woman. My foster brother who lived with me in high school was black. My prom date was black. All of my friends in high school were black. What are you talking about? That's not my heart. I fucked up. And it would sound like a chicken shit excuse, but what else do you have at that point? But I just find it interesting and ironic now that it's a black dude and not a white guy that's having to go, hey, some of my best friends are Nigerian. It's just ironically funny to me. So that was the Stephen A. Smith on the Nigerian thing. We got the Jeff Passan stuff. We are done. Robert said, wait, you're not black, Barry? No, not at all. I am. Walt said, I've already made a video on your behalf, Bear. Are you just saving it, Walt? You're just going to post it later? Walt's just going to post it later and be like, hey, you guys, I knew at some point he was going to offend black people. So I just had to, this video is from circa 2012, but yeah, you know. Oh, that's hilarious. What did Mark G say? Because it looks like Jake from State Farm said Mark G gets it. What does Mark G get? He owned it, but if there hadn't been backlash, he wouldn't have changed his mind. Yeah. What's your point? I don't know why Mark G. I don't know if that's worthy of a Mark G gets it. What's your point? Everybody's going to stand by what they say until they realize or until it's pointed out that they've said something to offend somebody or a group of people. I mean, you understand, like right now, if I just get drugged and dragged through the media because I've offended people with Southern accents, up until this point, it was just a joke for me. I just said what I said. I'm talking into a camera. I'm trying to be entertaining and funny and make a point and keep you guys watching as long as I can, which is also Stephen A. Smith's job. And don't think for 1 second he wasn't just trying to be funny and not offensive when he was like, blah, 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 I can't even say his name. I don't know why I made Stephen A. sound like a Colonel Sanders or whatever, but I mean, he was trying to be funny, but the joke missed and it offended Nigerian basketball team, and the players. So the joke missed. So you do the joke misses. What do you do now? You own it. I'm sorry it offended you. I tried. That was wrong. I mean, if everyone just goes about their business, what do you want them to do? Now, last week, I want to point out that I intentionally tried to offend Nigerians all over the world, and nobody called me on it. Listen, I didn't mean it. That's fucking ridiculous. Nobody's doing that. If no one's offended, why would you go back and own something that didn't offend people? So, anyways. But I appreciate Walt having my back. No, none of you other raggedy bitches have said you've made a video for me. Walt, let's give it up for Walt. What's up, Shelby? How was NASA? Okay, let's get into the home run derby. Let's talk about something positive. Let's get off this Stephen A. Smith shit. Let's talk about something positive, like Pete Alonso just absolutely putting it on everybody in the home run derby last night. That was a fun-ass derby. If you missed it, myself, Mike Liebeshock, and John Wessling did a side cast. We were supposed to do a co-stream, and then Twitch Sports kind of fucked that up and had wrong information. We thought we were going to be able to show you the home run derby on Sports Riot Live. It was another side cast of the derby. Instead, they misread or misunderstood what baseball was telling them, so we didn't get to do that. But instead, I challenge you to find a better sidecast or broadcast of the home run derby than what you got last night on Sports Riot Live. We had the Emmy award-winning T-Shawn Shannon join us for the entire home run derby. You might be like, who is T-Shawn Shannon? Oh, just at one point in his career, the head writer at Saturday Night Live, just has an Emmy that he showed us, a Writers Guild Award that he showed us. Yeah, just hanging out with us for the entire home run derby, cracking jokes and having a good time. So if you missed it, make sure you go follow us, twitch.tv/Sports Riot Live. But we did watch the whole derby. We did talk about it. It was a fun derby. It was an exciting derby. A lot of fun stuff. Shohei Ohtani showed up and showed out. Pete Alonso was my pick. I felt like at 5, my goodness, that was such good value for Pete Alonso. Being ranked 5th in the bracket, that was a cakewalk. There was no doubt he was going to win that. In my mind, I think Soto being at 8 was also very interesting. And then he and Shohei Ohtani go head to head for what's got to go down in history as a monumental battle. And think about that one more time, guys. That guy that you saw in Shohei Ohtani in the home run derby is the starter in the All-Star game. What? He's the leadoff hitter in the All-Star game. What? Who's doing that? Nobody's doing that. Unbelievable. So yeah, it was a lot of fun last night. The derby was, and then somebody pointed this out and I didn't know it. Until they showed it to me. But The man, oh, that's the wrong thing. The man that won it, and there he is, Pete Alonso on your left, and there's the guy that pitched to him. I think that's the hitting coach for the Mets. Pete Alonso has now made more money winning the home run derby than he has playing baseball for the Mets. What? Read that on your screen. And by the way, if you're listening to this on a podcast, which, if you're curious, yes, Barry on Deck is available via podcast. You can go to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Pandora. It's all out there. But if you're watching, if you're listening, this is also a video show. So make sure you check us out on youtube.com/Barry is funny. But this quote, I got it from, I don't remember what website. In 2019, MLB began awarding $1 million bonuses to the winner of the home run derby. That means Alonso has taken home $2 million from the derby. By comparison, he has earned $1.47 million in salary from the New York Mets since 2019. That is a mind-blowing statistic. Now, I want to point out that, one, I think baseball was super smart to give the winner $1 million. You've got to get the best guys in baseball to participate. It's like the slam dunk contest. At one point, you had Dominique and Spud Webb and Jordan and, Larry Bird. Just kidding. I was seeing who was paying attention. You had the stars participating in the slam dunk contest. Vince Carter, Dwight Howard, they don't anymore. It's all like guys that you don't really give a shit about in the slam dunk contest. And I think baseball saw that and recognized we can't do that in the home run derby. Nobody wants to see fucking Yuli Gurriel in the home run derby. I'm sorry, Astros fans. That's just a fact. We got to have stars, right? No one wants Kyle Tucker out there hitting cans of corn to deep right. So they go out and they say they're going to give $1 million to the winner, and it keeps the stars enticed to play, and it has now paid dividends for Pete Alonso. And I want to remind you why, or explain to you why it's possible that Pete Alonso could make more money in 2 years in the home run derby than he has playing for the Mets since 2019. And the reason is it's because of the way that new contracts are structured in baseball. You'll recall that when a rookie gets a deal, he's got to go through at least 4 years of arbitration, which means he'll make the minimum salary usually. Carlos Correa was making $520,000 or $70,000 a year his first couple of years as an Astro, even when he was still being considered one of the greatest players in the game and or at least one of the best shortstops in the game. And the same thing for Alex Bregman, the same thing for Jose Altuve, the same thing for George Springer. All of these guys were making close to, if not the minimum, which is a little over $500,000 a year. So once they get through a year or two under their belt, then they go to arbitration, and that's when they get to say, hey, I think I'm worth $1 million. And the Astros say, well, we think you're worth $750,000. And then an arbitrator will be like, no, he's right, he's worth $1 million. And they get $1 million that next year. And they keep going to arbitration, and they keep getting bumps in salary if they've earned it. So Pete Alonso, Rookie of the Year 2019, 50-something home runs his first year. But that year, he probably played for about $575,000, even though he led the majors in home runs. That's just how baseball is structured. So that's why, even with his arbitration year since 2019, he's only made $1.5 million, and he ends up making more in the home run derby. It's fascinating the way baseball has it structured. Ghost of the Todd Show. 107 mile an hour cans of corn. Well, okay. I was being a little hyperbolic. Yeah, he really did. He really did. That was amazing. Outstanding. I mean, you think about that. It's like, Jesus, this guy, that should have been a bigger story. If we're being honest, Robert, that should have been a bigger story. That should be national news. That should be what we talk about today too. But good for him, man. It's outstanding. What's up, Marty? Good to see you, buddy. His market value is $16 million a year. Who? I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know. I missed that. Yeah, stage 3 cancer too. Absolutely insane. Now, that wasn't the only stories last night during the home run derby. There were others. For example, you had this dude who risked it all for a home run ball. What the fuck was that? Watch on your right. Look at this dude. Now, it wasn't like, you know, from the top level to the bottom level. But goddamn, my dude really wanted that baseball. I'm sorry, folks. I would want to catch a ball from anybody in the home run derby. Olsen, it wouldn't matter. But I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I don't give a shit about this. That's just ridiculous. That's a grown-ass man. Bro, you're a grown man. What are you doing? And he looks like he landed more on his shoulder than his head, by the way. If we can... So, right there, I think he lands more on the shoulder. We should turn this into a film session. Like, how not to act like a fucking idiot. So, right there, you think you got it. Did he catch it? No, it bounced off his glove. Then he goes over. Ah! Don't do that. Oh, the baseballs were signed? Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty interesting. God damn, they had to sign all those? They had buckets of baseballs. They had to sit there and sign. Tell me they had a stamp. Katie says he's trying to show off to a date. That's the only reason he did it. Well, he wasn't the only one that had a tough outing at the home run derby. Orbit was at the Astros mascot was at the home run derby, and apparently he got booed so fucking bad by Colorado fans. They were relentless in booing him. He was literally the only Astro in the building. They booed the fucking mascot like Orbit was cheating. And then this happened. Now I want you to pay attention closely to this video. This is Orbit taking pictures with Astros fans and an Angels fan acting like a bitch.
Hey, Orbit, go big on a trash can.
You're so clever, fella. Oh my God. You're so funny. No one's ever said that. Did you go to public school? What? This fucking idiot. But just watch. Hey, Herbert. Go bring on some
Orbit, go big on a trash can.
Burbity burp burp. Now, my man right there is an Astros fan. He goes, did you notice what he said? They all cheated. Yeah, they're all cheaters. Tell them. I think that dude is that dude wearing a Cincinnati? Oh, no, he's wearing an Astros hat. I was going to say, is he wearing a Reds hat? So those are obviously Astros fans getting in a picture with Orbit. They're all cheaters.
Orbit, bang, bang.
Oh, in your face! In your face, you dumb bitch!
Hey, Orbit, go big on a trash can.
Hey, burpy, derp, burpy, derp, burpy, derp, burp. Burp. You suck, Herbert. Derp, burp.
Orbit, bang, bang.
Oh, in your face. I love that shit so much. That's exactly what that dude gets. Fucking idiot. Todd said, too bad it wasn't pepper spray. God damn, Todd. Could you see Orbit out there just pepper spraying the shit out of that dude? That would be great. Also highly illegal, Todd. Why you out here having the mascot do illegal shit? Makes no sense. All right, one last thing I want to get to, and this will be a good one to bring in Kristopher Hart on. So, that sounded weird. Kristopher Hart on? No, bring in Kristopher Hart. We'll say it that way. That sounds better. In fact, Chris, I'm going to bring you. You ready, buddy? You good to go? Let's do this. Joining me on the program right now. Joining me on Barry on Deck, as he does each and every week. Mr. Kristopher Hart, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm feeling good, man. What a beautiful, beautiful weekend. What a beautiful weekend. I'm excited to talk about it.
Unbelievable. I already showed the pictures from it today. I had those ready to go. I didn't get to them yesterday, but I had them all up and running. And yeah, dude, that was good times. And we're going to discuss it for sure. But I wanted to get your opinion on this because I was going to show this to the people. It happened, and I don't want to get too far away from the topic. And I think it's sports But it's not really sports. You're. I know you're not a huge sports guy, but I think you'll be able to have an opinion and a comment on this. So,
sure. By the way,
yes.
just to be clear,
Yes.
How well versed or educated I am on a subject has never prevented me from having an opinion on it. So go ahead and hit me with it.
Same. I have the dumbest opinions about everything. So anyways, the San Francisco 49ers back in the 80s, Darren Rovell, who is a sports reporter, found an old copy of the San Francisco 49ers football team handbook. And in the handbook, this was under Section 7, visitors in the players' rooms. And it says, quote, players should avoid visitors in their rooms at training camp, on road trips, or in the motel during home games. This applies to male and female guests. Fines will be levied at the discretion of the head coach. Female visitors will be judged as to appearance and poise on a 1 to 10 scale. Fines will be increased in direct proportion to a player's lack of good taste. The head coach's evaluation is final. What the fuck? So basically, the 49ers are out here fining fools for bringing home 6s and 3s. Yo, you brought that ugly chick back to the room? That's a fine, fam. What? This was in the book.
To be clear, this. Let me play devil's advocate here for a minute.
How did I know? How did I know you're about to defend this? You sexist, misogynistic piece of crap. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not defending it. It is absolutely appalling. But this is no different. No different. Can I tell a story that's kind of...
Absolutely, dude. We got a half hour. Take your time. Go.
All right. So the point is this bad? This is so bad. But are we surprised in the 80s before OSHA was really a thing or before HR departments were really a thing? Are we surprised that there was garbage like that in any handbook? No. My grandmother was married to a guy from the Dominican Republic for years growing up. I was a baby. My grandmother was married to this, I don't want to say African-American male, but I'm going to say a person of color.
Okay.
She was married to him. She loved him. I had cousins and relatives, all black. My grandmother, who's 80-something years old, would refer to them lovingly.
Please don't say it.
I'm not going to say it. But you know exactly where I'm going.
Yeah.
And when I first had my daughter at 15, or I had my daughter at 17, she said that word in front of me and my daughter. And I would never raise my voice to my grandmother. But I told her, Grandma, you can't do that. You can't, even in 2005, 2006, no. No, you can't say it. And I don't care if you're married to one, your best friend. None of that matters. This is bad. Yeah. But am I surprised that my 80-year-old grandmother said something so stupid and racist? No. So it's like, so I'm not defending the book. But am I surprised?
It's certainly not.
No, I mean, keep in mind, you're talking about basically professional jocks. And if you think jocks in high school are bad, give them millions and millions of dollars and make them famous. They're all horrible pieces of shit.
I would agree. What I like,
please don't say it. Please.
Oh my God. I was like, oh God, please just, what I like about this though, is that they're not just judging them on appearance, but also their poise. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? If they're a dime, but they can't keep their shit together, you're still getting fined, right? If you bring in a poised 7, you're probably good. Anything what?
I think that has to do, and if I were to try to put my don't judge me till you walk a mile. If I were to put my head in the space of some shithead writing that manual back then, that was probably had something to do with. How do I put this nicely? The level of classiness to someone.
Okay.
Right. If they were obviously a person of ill repute. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. I'm not familiar with that term.
Don't be bringing in a 4 that's a hoe. Don't be bringing in no hoe-ass 4.
But if you bring in a 7, that's a hoe. Like it's.
As long as she's a poised hoe, apparently they didn't.
As long as she's a lady, right? That's all we care about.
It's
Yeah,
just
they're
wild
such
to
pieces
me.
of shit back then, man, dude. They were so bad. So many bad people for so long were like blatantly in charge of things.
Yes.
And that's so bizarre to me.
Yes. But yeah, and I think that, and it's funny because when you see something like that letter about that I'm sure the head coach had the most to do with, who I believe was probably Bill Walsh back then. But you see letters like that, and you think, what, that wasn't okay then. It's certainly not okay now. But back then, you just didn't say anything. You just were like, okay, this is just how it is.
We still have a version of that, right? So like in today's society, we love to be like, oh, you guys are being politically correct. Can I just speak? Like, I'm not racist, but, and then they say something horrible. Back then it was just amplified. It was a magnitude. They were in charge of everything. I mean, you see, the other day I went into a green room. I won't say what green room, but they were watching Blazing Saddles.
Oh,
a phenomenal, iconic piece of history, but also, yikes.
Yeah.
Like yikes, you know? So it's like, it's one of those things that we are slowly, all of our problems as a society, all of our problems are getting better. But as you move to a better area, not a physically better area, but as we as a society move towards, like we no longer say this or this because it's definitely bad. But as we progress as a society, our focus becomes about what's left. Right? So like, even though murder is bad and murder rates are down, when you see someone murdered, you're like, man, this neighborhood's going to shit. So it's that's always going to be the case. It's called it's very similar. It's called the hedonic treadmill. Are you familiar with that term?
No. Anything involves treadmill, I have no idea what you're talking about.
God, I love you so much. I love you, the quick, the wit.
Come on, treadmill. Nothing about this screams treadmill.
So, I'm reading Mark's comment. Yeah, I understand that. That doesn't take away my point.
Right.
The hedonic treadmill refers to hedonistic behavior, right? So, if you are poor and you get a $100 scratch off, it's amazing, right? But you can your level of satisfying feelings tapers off. No matter what it is, the more you move in that direction. I'll give you an example. Growing up, all I wanted to do was make $60,000 a year. And I thought that if I could make $60,000 a year, I could afford everything I've ever wanted. And as you get older and you hit that mark, you're like, no, I need at least this.
I got to get six figures. Yeah,
I've got to hit 6 figures.
Yeah. And then you hit 100 and you're like, 250. I'm going to go for 250. That's when I'll really be set.
I was visiting with a buddy of mine. I've known this guy for years. He's a great guy, but he's kind of a piece of shit on paper. Like if you were to just describe
my dad? No, I'm just kidding.
So this guy I know, I remember when he was dating his wife. They both work in the same field. They both applied for the same job, and she got it, and she got the job making more money than him, and they were just engaged, and he almost called off the engagement. Right? Like, so like on paper, he's a piece of shit, right? Yeah. He was like, I can't have her.
What an asshole.
Yeah, I know. So
I'm so blessed that Nora makes more money than me, because then I can do this, and she goes and works and pays bills while Daddy chases his dreams.
Exactly.
What?
So whenever he hit 90,000, like he's like, I got to make 90, and then he made 90, and he just got a job just like literally 2 months ago making 125.
Mm-hmm.
And he's thinking about leaving that job, and he's going to ask them. He didn't say I'm going to ask them for a raise. What he said is I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to tell them that my salary needs to start with a 2. And there's this thing as humans where we're never quite satisfied wherever we're at, and that goes both for things that make us happy and things that anger us. You know, like you talk about.
True. That's true.
You talk about. White people problems or rich people problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're complaining my Wi-Fi on the airplane doesn't work.
First world problems. Right?
First world problems. That's what it was. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, whatever our problems are in life are going to make us equally as anxious or stressed out than if we actually had real problems, because that's how we work as humans.
It's a good point. I mean, I've had money. I haven't been rich, but I've had legitimately more money than we could spend in a month.
Sure.
And that was when I was working in the IT world as a project manager at Halliburton, and Nora was a nurse. And we were both just like, we were able to buy this house. But I got to be honest, I make a fraction of what I made when I did that. But I am so much happier. And I think because once you've achieved that and you understand that there's a whole different set of problems that come with it, I'd rather do what I love and not make as much money than do something I'm fucking miserable. I might be good at it, but I'm fucking miserable doing it, and I don't want to do it. So my mom asked me that the other day when she was driving me down to the radio station. She goes, did you ever think when you were working in corporate America making north of $150K a year that you'd be doing this? I was like, no, but I'm so much happier, man. Like, it's just, it's night and day, dude. It's night and day.
Night and day difference.
And I think if I'm lucky enough to be able to see all that and get to appreciate this more now, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. It'd be great to have some of those checks again and not worry about paying bills. But at the end of the day, it's like, as long as I figure it out and the bills are paid, this is the greatest thing ever. I hope everybody gets to experience that. That's the ultimate in living. Like, is just, are you happy with what you do?
Well, think about who Jeff Bezos is or Bill Gates is, right? Like, you could simply not work for the rest of your life. I mean, literally, you could simply not work for the rest of your life. But of course you do, because we're never satisfied. It is the most fascinating aspect of who we are as people. And it's also the same exact thing that helps us heal from pain, right? So like, it sucks when you lose an animal. We just found out our dog that was abandoned on our doorstep before the freeze. A dog showed up on our doorstep right before the freeze in Houston. They estimate her to be about 6 months old, and we've got her checked. They gave her heartworm preventative medicine, microchip, the whole 9 yards. Took her yesterday for her 1 year checkup, and she tested positive for heartworms. Ugh. And there's no, whatever damage that does is permanent. And of course, my wife's crying. I'm getting a little emotional about it. You could lose an animal. You can lose a child. You could lose a parent. You can, you break up with your girlfriend. You're in this unbelievable pain for a short period of time, but you eventually can live a normal life. It's the most fascinating aspect of who we are as people. And if you believe in God, I think that is the best gift God could have ever given us, to be that resilient. It's true. Not to get philosophical on the show.
No, that's true though. I mean, that's why we're two fancy guys. We talk about fancy shit like life and dealing with it and living with it, man. It's true. Now let's talk about this whiskey tasting for a minute. I don't want to run out of time, but I did want your opinion on the 49ers stuff. But I got to tell you, my guy, there's never going to be a way that I can thank you enough for making that all happen. Seriously, dude, I am over the moon about everything up to this point and what's going to happen next. And I know the deckheads that were selected and won the opportunity to be there to a person were just thrilled to be a part of that, man. So thank you so much on behalf of me and Justin and Fidel and Jen and Amos and Crystal and House for making that possible.
Well, it was an incredible experience. It was our first that I've been to 1,000 of these in Kentucky and in Scotland. Doing this for my brand and doing it with you, a dear friend, was out of this world, incredible. We as you can see from those awesome pictures, we lined up 5 barrels. And go back to the picture of all of us.
Okay.
So did you talk about the barrel, the ugly barrel?
The ugly barrel.
Yeah. So there's an ugly barrel theory in the whiskey world that.
I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Share.
Yeah. Yeah. So whenever you come to a whiskey distillery, a whiskey tasting, and you're tasting through and deciding what your favorite barrel is, without ever tasting or smelling it, there's a theory, a lore, a legend within the whiskey world that the ugliest barrel is the best barrel, and we just so happen to have picked the ugliest barrel, that middle one there. That ugly son of a bitch was delicious.
Hilarious. I had no idea that was the case. So that's a real thing. What the hell just happened here? Hold on. What? Get the goddamn. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I had no idea that was. You didn't mention that while we were there. That is fascinating. And how often do you think that that's true? 75% of the time.
So most of the time, the first time I heard that theory, the year that I heard that theory, my very next tasting ended up debunking it. So it's not 100% of the time, but I've seen it work. Like I've seen, it's like that old, honey, will you hand me a pen and a piece of paper? You ever seen that old trick, that whole pick a number trick?
No.
All right. So 9 times out of 10, a little faster would be great, honey. I'm live. She's over there. She's like,
I don't know. Does this spin work? It's okay. Listen, we ain't going nowhere. We're here till 4.
So, yeah.
Maybe a little longer if she don't hurry the fuck up. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ, right? So most of the time, it's been that way. The very first barrel we picked together, my wife and I, was the ugly barrel. You guys picked the ugly barrel. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. By the way, somebody pointed out how short we look compared to you. And you're lean, too.
Yeah, 6'5", to answer Mark's question.
That's
6'5".
ridiculous. And Fidel is actually standing on a stool. He's actually couldn't see over the barrel, so we had to get him some blocks like a news reporter. Just kidding. He's not that short. All right.
So if this works, then this is going to be genius. If it doesn't, then we can laugh at how stupid I am. So you see that? Can you see that?
Yes, it says pick a number 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so go ahead.
2.
Motherfucker, of course.
What the fuck?
Not. Most people pick 3. Most people pick 3.
Really? Why?
Yeah. So if you're at a bar and you do it right,
you're like, motherfucker. Of course.
God damn it! All that for nothing. If you're at a bar, it's a cool bar trick. If you do that at a bar, most people, especially when they're drunk, they don't overthink it. Their instinct is to hit 3, and it has to do. Yeah, I think it has to do with the way we read. We read left to right, and no one wants to pick the first one or the last one. So 2 to 3, and it's usually 3, and it makes for a great bar trick if it works. It does not make for a good live trick.
What other bar tricks do you know? Do you have a lot of these? I mean, you are a drinker. You are.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the wristwatch? Never mind. I'm not going to do that.
I feel like that's a sexual move.
Is
that like an Alabama Hot Pocket? Or Cleveland Steamer? The wristwatch.
I only knew one of those.
You're not suckering me into that.
Bullshit. No, it's where you wrap your junk around your wrist and you ask someone what time it is, and they look down at your watch and it's not a watch, it's a penis.
First of all,
it's in the handbook. I learned it in the 86ers handbook from 1972.
86ers.
Whatever they're called, I don't know. What did you call them? The Giants?
The 86ers?
I don't know sports. I'm not a sports guy.
First of all, it's the 76ers, as in 1776, and that's Philadelphia and basketball. We were talking about the San Francisco 49ers in football, who were gold rush. The 86ers, the get the fuck out of here's 86ers. Oh, that's outstanding. Now the chat's having a good time. That's so funny. Holy shit. Do you know, so first of all, there will be no wrapping of the penis around the wrist. I could be like, oh, look, I got a mole on my wrist. That's all that's happening. Okay. So, okay, let's talk about, after.
Oh yeah, whiskey.
Yeah, let's talk about after, because that was pretty dope too. Now so we did the whiskey tasting, we selected the barrel, everybody had a say in a vote except me apparently, because this wasn't the one I chose, but everybody else chose it. So I got outvoted on my own barrel of whiskey, which is fine. I'm a team player. And I know you want to put out, are you going to use the other 5 or the other 4 barrels though?
Yeah, this will be used. So typically what happens is, and we've talked about this a little bit that day, all of the liquid in all 5 barrels were distilled at the same time. They were put into the barrel at the same time, and they were aged in the same part of the warehouse at the same time, but they all taste drastically different. You guys, having no experience doing it, you all tasted it and decided you didn't like. I remember one of them, 4, was just god awful.
Yeah.
2 and 3 were great. I think it was 2 or 3 was great.
It was 2 and 3 because I had 2 as my first choice and 3 as my second, and I think everybody else had 3 as their first choice and 2 as their second.
Yeah, so relatively, the whiskey industry, distillation is only a few hundred years old, not even quite 1,000 years old, and we still have not figured out why, if we use the same type of wood and it's the same cut of wood and it's the same char and why everything just for some reason interacts differently barrel by barrel, kind of like a snowflake, or every cut of meat is slightly different than the cut before, whatever the case might be. But so what'll happen is all of the whiskey was objectively good. It was good whiskey.
Yeah.
But what we do every Friday is we go through, we taste a couple dozen barrels, and we decide, is this perfect as a standalone product? Yes or no. If it's not, we will blend it, because you could have something that has a beautiful nose and an awful finish, or great taste but a horrible nose, and you blend them together to create a uniform product that usually balances out, and which is what most large batch, small batch products are. Bakers or Booker's from Beam uses 600 barrels. So we're going to be a small batch product. We'll be probably closer to 70 barrels that'll be blended together. Everything else, there'll be about 10 to 15 of them that are earmarked for single barrel usage, which is, you guys got the first one.
Really? So that's going to be a single barrel. So there won't be blended or anything. So that's the difference. It'll say blended or single barrel on the label.
So you'll have your own single barrel separate sticker, and it'll say Barry on deck, and handpicked by you guys, and it's going to be dope. It should yield between 150 to 200 bottles.
Holy shit. I'll probably buy half of those.
150 to 200 bottles. They should retail around $59.99 a bottle, and they'll be all cask strength. Just like you guys tasted it from the barrel.
That's exactly what the people are going to taste?
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, it's on. That is so dope. And it'll be out in October, right? Because it's got to at least spend 6 years in the barrel.
We want it to be 6 years old. So you guys tasted it. It's almost 6. It'll be 6 in the middle of October. We'll bottle it on its birthday. And I'll invite you out. And you can,
yes,
the day we bottle it, you can, come out, take pictures, and it'll be cool.
Yes. Now it got better after that. Because so we were all eating and hanging out after the tasting, and you weren't able to join us because a special guest showed up.
Andrew Santino showed up, and there was for those who don't know the history, there was Andrew Santino and I have similar shows. His is called the Whiskey Ginger Podcast. Mine's called Whiskey Neat, and I'm a little ginger. Not that I'm a little ginger, but
I was gonna say you're definitely a big ginger.
I'm slightly ginger, slightly ginger. And then
ginger-ish.
Correct. There's been an slight online rivalry that's definitely just joking for quite some time. So I knew he was coming into town. I took him a bottle of Prideful Goat. I invited him out to the distillery. He wanted to come by. I took him over to y'all's barrel. He tasted what y'all picked, and he loved it. So the only people who have tasted the Barry on deck is the people that were there, plus Andrew Santino.
Nice. Fancy. We're fancy like that. But he was super cool. And you know what I've learned? A lot of guys like that. Like, you'll meet some comics that are dicks, right? Some comics, you've met these guys.
Just say Todd Barry. Just say Todd Barry. We know
is Todd Barry an asshole? I've never met the
dude. Apparently, he's the biggest piece of shit ever.
Really? Never met the dude. But I can tell you why I think and know that Andrew Santino is just a genuinely good, down-to-earth dude. Because we were wrapping up. Everybody was getting ready to leave. I think they were going to another party at 3:30 somewhere else. Some people were going home. And you kind of motioned me over, just because I'm a comic, he's a comic, and it would be cool. Right? You knew that I wanted to meet the dude, and that would be dope. So I go over there just to say hi, and he immediately was like, "Hey, man, grab a seat, grab some food." And that doesn't happen with a lot of celebrities and a lot of comics. because they don't want to be bothered. They don't give a fuck who you are. Or they just like, I've got these tacos and I don't want to have the extra people that I have to talk to and entertain. And then as I sat there and we're having just general conversations about comedy and people, did you also notice, because I noticed this shit. I'm a people watcher. I'm an observer of people and how they treat other people. But he was very inclusionary with me and the gentleman across from me. Who was his name? His name escapes me. He was sitting next to you on the other side of the bench.
Chris Collar. Oh, yeah. Chris O'Connor.
No. The guy that works there. The guy that works at the head distiller.
Julian, the head distiller.
He was very inclusionary in his stories and in his conversations. He would look at me. He would look at Julian. He would look at you. He would look at Chris. That's the sign of somebody who isn't too full of their shit. Most guys, when they hold court like that, don't give a fuck. So that's what I was most impressed with. A guy like that who's right now riding high. I mean, his stock couldn't be higher, really. And it's just a genuinely good, down-to-earth dude. So it was a fun experience just to get to hang out and talk. And anytime I can meet comedians that have achieved that level of success and be there is dope for me. So I appreciate that too. That was a fun way to cap it off. You got to play darts with the dude, and he seemed like a really good guy.
He was really down to earth. Yeah, and Chris O'Connor is a New York comic. He was awesome. We just sat and hung out and ate and broke bread and talked whiskey, and it was just a really cool experience all the way around. I mean, your crew couldn't have been nicer. They're extremely supportive.
They're wonderful people. Yeah.
Your audience has always been the nicest, and it was just, for me, it couldn't have been a more, like, it was a day full of love.
Yes. So what the sign says: be safe, be kind, love each other. I'm big on that, man. Let's just be cool and treat each other good. Luis Zelaya said Barry's talking about Jeremy Piven.
Yeah, I saw that.
Fuck that dude. That guy's a bitch. I don't give a fuck.
I almost invited him on my show, and I decided not to. Our
friendship would be over. No, I'm just fucking with you. Listen, man, get them clicks, player, however you can get them. If he's giving you shit, listen, if he agreed to do this show, I'll be like, I was just kidding. Let me get these numbers up. No, man, it was a shit ton of fun. I can't wait till it comes out. Are you planning on doing more of these, or was this just a thing? Are you going to try to partner up with other folks for the tastings?
Yeah, so typically we're setting aside 10 to 15 single barrels that'll be earmarked for a single barrel program, and we're going to offer them to the stores that have been supportive. So one will go to Specs. We'll send one to some mom and pop stores, and just share the love. Those single barrels can be a lot of fun. Each one's different. So when they buy yours, I would imagine, to answer someone's question, they were asking when will it be shipped. Okay. So if we bottle it in the middle to late October, it won't be in market until November, but it'll be here before Christmas. Oh, and nice. You'll be able to get it. It'll be delicious. And then the next single barrel that someone else picks, you guys will be able to actually taste them side by side and realize which one you like better. So I will tell you this, there's a lot of pressure on when you handpick a barrel. So if someone buys or marks number 2 for their private selection, and then and then people go out there and what they'll do is people will do a blind side by side, like I don't know whose is whose. I'm just going to taste them both, and then you'll see on HBS someone will be like, "Well, I tasted berries and berries sucked." So it'll just depend.
If number 2 is if people are on Houston Bourbon Society saying that barrel 2 was better than the berry on deck, I'm gonna be so pissed at Jen and House and Fidel and Justin and Amos and Crystal. You have ruined my good reputation. Okay, I'm just fucking around.
It'll be fun. At the very least,
fuck. I'm so excited. Look, I'm on TikTok now. You can't hurt me. The fucking people on TikTok are the most toxic motherfuckers I've ever met in my whole life. You trashing whiskey with my name on it ain't gonna bother me a bit. Bitch, I got whiskey with my name on it. That's all I care about. I'm excited about that.
There's a great store on the north, because you're based on the north side.
Yes.
Jen. Oh, the pressure. Yeah, no, there's a great store on the north side called, there's 2, Ricky's and Ryan's are both great stores. So what we'll do is we'll likely split the barrel up, send a third of it to the store on the north side, a third of it to the store on the south side. And what I need from you is to gauge what side of town your audience really is on. Okay. If most of them are inner loop, then that's easy. But if most of them are in Katy, That's also easy because I'm me and I do everything I want. But
Yeah.
we've got store partners out on the west side, is what I'm saying. So I just need to know, where do I need to send the barrels and which stores. We could just do it all through specs and tell them to spread it out across the city, but then you don't know what went where and how much is out there, and so it's nice to have at least 3 stores spread across the city to send private barrels so that people will flock to it, and you can
and I can send people, go here. This is where you can get the bottles from, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what somebody was asking, is it going to be in specs? And I was like, I don't know how they're going to do the distribution. I mean, I guess we could. Yeah, I have no idea, though. And maybe that is easier. Like, hey, just go to your local or your nearest specs and it'll be there. I don't know.
Yeah, we can also give it to Total Wines. It just depends. The only thing with Total Wine, no bashing. I love Total Wine. But when you do private barrels through them, they tend to be a bit more pricier than they would be if we were to do them through someone else.
Okay.
So gotcha. You and I can discuss it and figure out the best layout.
What I'll do is I'll have Jen. We have a standing meeting every Thursday. We'll discuss how to poll the Discord, the deckheads there.
Sure.
I'll probably do a Twitter poll as well. And I think between those two, we'll combine the results, and I'll be able to get a good gauge of where people, and maybe I'll probably put something on my personal Facebook as well. But we'll be able to get a side of town breakdown where people are listening from, and those that are whiskey drinkers that would like to procure a bottle, where they could go, what would be more convenient for them. So we'll get that for sure.
I tell you what we can do to make it super simple.
Mm-hmm. Aaron wants to know, can I buy one online? I live way outside of Houston. We do have deckheads in San Antonio as well, in the Hill Country. So that's not going to be.
Yeah, it's a bit tough. I could do it through Total Wine and Specs, and you could order it online, but you'd still have to figure out how to get it.
Yeah.
We couldn't legally mail it to you. Although that being said, I could advise Barry on how to get it from point A to point B in a certain way.
Yeah.
That's probably legal.
Okay.
Yeah, we could figure that out.
Yeah.
And then, so there's one more thing I was going to say about it. Yeah, I don't remember. I'll remember later.
We're going to figure it out. For those of you,
I remembered. Sorry. You can make a private map. Google Maps does a My Map. We could do a Barry on Deck map and literally just flag 3 stores on the map, so people could just go to barryondeck.com/maps.
whiskey. No, / whiskey, and you can know where to go get it.
Yep.
This is dope.
Yep.
And okay. I like this. Now, what about pre-order? Because that is also something Aaron J. Bryan was asking about. Unfortunately, if it's in stores, there's no pre-order, correct?
Yeah. So typically, here our laws suck so bad. If that's okay, once we know what store it's going to, you could call that store ahead of time and ask them. And if they say yes, sure. But legally, once I turn a product over to a distributor, I have no control over that product. And once the distributor turns it over to the store, they don't have any control over the product. So it's kind of like, it depends on what they're willing to do.
Yeah.
If you go, just to give you an example of what our maps look like, you can go to HoustonBourbonSociety.com, and it's just a Google map where the best stores, the best distilleries, the best bars, all in Houston. And it's a real easy map. So, we'll figure it out. We'll pick 3 locations. We'll get it on a Barry on Deck map, and then you guys can start badgering that store early for the bottle.
I like it. This is perfect. And Jen and I will get on that ASAP, and we'll get that going. I mean, we got time, but we'll get that going so they can start asking for it in the beginning of October, maybe, and pestering them through the month to.
Yeah. By the time it gets bottled, we'll have a store lined up.
Joe?
We'll have details.
All right. Hey, by the way, how can they find you on social media, Mr. Hart?
Yeah, Whiskey Pete without the E, WHISKY, Pete on Instagram, Twitter. Barry does a great job of tagging both accounts. I appreciate that. My Whiskey Neat, and of course the Whiskey Pete. And our show shows up on ESPN every week, 97.5 FM on the weekend, and YouTube's every Friday. YouTube's, is that the right?
YouTube's? Is it
the non-boomer
plural YouTube? Did you just just
and I shop
the old tubes?
Always at an S, whatever you're talking. It's
you're so
Jesus
old.
Christ.
Jesus, what are you doing?
I'm going to Kroger's later.
Shipley's.
Shipley's. Yeah.
That's another one
Jesus.
where people fuck up. I fuck up both of them, so I own it. It is Kroger's and Shipley's. I also call it an ice box and not a refrigerator. So.
Oh yeah, and I drink a lot of pop. Yeah.
No, everything is Coke, pretty much.
Everything's Coke. Yeah. One last thing before we go.
Yes.
Saturday we had an argument over whether or not straight up and neat were the same thing.
Okay.
And I think Justin's the one who spoke up on this.
Yes.
So I'm coming after you, Mr. Swinford.
Oh, okay. Now let me introduce this for the TikToks because we're gonna put this on TikTok. So I'm gonna ask it as a question. Everybody, chill the fuck out and act like this is the normal flow of the show. And I'm gonna say, hey, by the way. And then I'll introduce, and then you throw it in like you're a fucking boss. Sure. Okay, we're just people don't know.
I've never done a TikTok. Should I dance automatically?
We're gonna have it edited. You don't have to do a fucking thing. No, please don't dance. I mean, all right. You know what? If you dance, I'll dance. You want to do it? Come on, let's go.
Bend down the goddamn corner doing dope. Bend down the goddamn corner doing dope. Bend down the goddamn corner.
You gotta dance. You're not dancing. All right.
Yeah, no. I thought about jerking. Never mind. That's fine. Just go. Never mind. Just go back. You can't twerk on camera. You can't present me that peach.
Don't stand up. They're going to see your boner. They're going to see your ginger boner. All right, here we go. We're going to throw out the question. We're going to get it. We're going to get it a little. This is going to be official. You ready? 3. This is TV production style stuff. You ready?
Okay. All right.
Let's go. I need a sound check. That's for the editing. 3, 2. So we were talking about whiskey neat versus on the rocks, and what is the actual difference between those two?
You already fucked up. It's whiskey neat or straight up.
Okay, fuck. Stop. Rewind.
Ready?
Hold on. All right,
top,
take 2. Hold on.
Okay, let me give it a slate. You need a slate?
All right, whiskey neat versus straight. Take 2. Action. So we were talking at the tasting about whiskey and whiskey neat versus whiskey straight. What is the actual difference? Have you figured that out for us?
That's actually a great question there, Barry. You know, I looked into it. There was this very, this kid that came to the tasting Saturday. I believe his name was Justin. He said that they are essentially the same thing. I looked into it. It turns out the lie detector determined that was a lie. They're not the same thing. Yeah. So he's a bad person. The difference between straight up and neat is simply chilled versus neat. So there is no ice in it, but you shake it in an ice shaker and then you strain it. And that would be something that is straight up. It is chilled for your pleasure.
Bam! Only here are you getting that. That's good. That was well done. Thank you. Let's give it up. Thank you. Yes.
We should do more role playing on the show. I think I like it. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Kristopher and Barry make out. Take 1. No, I'm just kidding. No. Yo, this is so much fun, dude. I love this segment so much. Look, put your goddamn shirt on. I don't care. I'll take my pants off right now. I don't give a shit. Listen, I'm just going to finish up the show.
Someone's finishing the show. That's for sure.
Oh, Mr. Hart, this is such a fun week, or such a fun segment for every single week. And the people love it as well. I appreciate you doing this. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the whiskey tasting, for the Barry on Deck bottles that will be out in October. Man, you are making dreams come true, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Love you.
Guys, that is Kristopher Hart, as he is here every single Tuesday on Barry on Deck. And that is another episode. Thank you guys for hanging out. As always, good times by all. Want to remind you, Barry on Deck brought to you by the AP Law Group. If you have been injured in an accident, make sure you call. I didn't do any reads today. Wow, totally failed. No reads. APLawgroup.com is the website. You've been injured in an accident, call them 713-913-GO-AP. I owe everybody reads. I'm a day behind, but you will get your allotment, I promise. I never fail on that. Hey, I love you guys so much. Mwah! I'll see you tomorrow. It's a Whisker Wednesday. I'm going to try to get a guest again just to hang out. Don't forget, tonight, Sports Riot Live, we're going to be doing the All-Star Game and talking about Stephen A. Smith some more and the Home Run Derby and a lot of fun, so make sure you check that out as well. Twitch.tv/Sports Riot Live. Thank you to my guest, Kristopher Hart. my hero. I will see you guys tomorrow, everybody. Until then, be safe, be kind, and most importantly, love each other. See y'all tomorrow. And he's making a YouTube video!